Welcome back to Edge Your, presented by FanDuel as part of the Hammer Betting Network. I'm Alex Moretto, joined here today by So Money Sports as we are on the verge of being through round one, just likely a couple games left, three at most. Our Saturday of game sevens turned into a Saturday of game seven, just one single game, one series extended last night as the teams down 3-2 did not show enough fight to extend these series. Not a great night for our best bets. So I believe we went 1-3. I was extremely aggrieved to lose that under in the Leafs game, a game where, again, there was very little offense created. I thought there was some really bad goaltending from both sides there. Former producer Zach Bill posted a great tweet about it's just a picture of Patrick Lalime. I thought that was funny. Omar did kind of go full Patrick Lalime last night. Stolarz, I think he'd want that second goal back as well. So anyways, we lost that one. Lost a bit more money on the Kings because why not? That's just what we've been doing in round one. Might as well just, go out with the bang there. Officially have just killed us there. And did not get the Stars home. Looked like we were at one point there. There was a point I tweeted out at the end of the second period.
I saw.
Where I was like, this team feels like maybe a little bit of a reverse jinx because I had so much app stuff that I really wanted to get home. But yeah, it felt like they were just destined. It was like, if they're going to pull this off in round one and play this way, then I don't know, maybe they won't be stopped once they get Robertson and Heiskanen back. But ultimately, the Avs find a way there, an insane bounce. Sam Steele clears the puck off his teammate Colin Blackwell and into the back of the net for the game-winning goal. And then the Wild, they really pushed. They deserved a little bit better. That was a really good performance by them. I liked what I saw from them. Unfortunate, they just ran into a very good team. It is what it is. But what were your thoughts on last night?
Does Hiller still have a job? Has he been fired yet?
They're probably making him face the media one more time so the media can just lay into him and then they'll fire him.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that. So the Oilers, what's impressive right now about the Oilers is that they're winning in the playoffs without McDavid and Draisaitl scoring. They scored 6 goals again last night, and McDavid and Draisaitl didn't have anything. Right? That's scary because now you're getting secondary scoring. Kane is fully integrated into the lineup, and it's not just Kane. And we talk about this often. It's not usually one player that makes a difference, but what that one player does is that he usually allows the rest of the guys to get their proper allocated minutes. So now if we have a guy like Janmark, if we have Connor Brown, if we have these guys playing the minutes that they need to be playing, they can be more effective now instead of overextending them, right? And speaking of overextending, the Kings just ran out of gas. It's just, oh, please, Charles, don't do that, right? I mean, they just ran out of gas. This was a team that gave it all early in the series. They had it. It was right there for them, and they allowed the Oilers to play into the series. Oilers got their legs, and they just ran out of gas, and they just didn't have enough, and that sucks. But now we're all Oilers now. Other games, Minnesota, same thing, right? Like it's just tough way to lose that. They have nothing to hang their heads about. That was a series that was right there. They were heavy underdogs, and really a couple of those games could have gone either way. So I know I'm lower on Vegas than you are. We'll talk about that. Throughout the season I wasn't, but you know me, things just flip right away, and like I haven't completely
quick to react to stuff in this league.
Yeah, I haven't completely flipped on Vegas, but just like Ottawa, I was high on them during the regular season, and I flipped on them in the playoffs. I'm probably going to be doing that with Vegas. Ottawa, Leafs did what they need to do. That was a game, and I think that series. I know we're going to talk about that the Leafs are overmatched against the Panthers, and they might be, but I think that the way that the Leafs played in that series and the way that Ottawa forced them to play, I think that's going to bode well for them in that Florida series. Obviously, Florida is better than Ottawa, but what Ottawa tries to do, similar to the Minnesota-Vegas matchup, what Ottawa tries to do is what Florida does very well, right? And I think that that the way that that's the Florida Toronto series is going to play out, I think that their battle against Ottawa is going to serve them well. Um, yeah, and Colorado Dallas, it was destined to go 7. And Colorado just they showed in that third period what they showed last Saturday is that they have another gear that Dallas cannot get to right now. It's just a matter of are they able to do it consistently, right? Even at 3-3, like Nature's hit the post a couple of times, right?
Yeah, I think and Manson hit the post as well.
Yeah, they were like carrying the play. Dallas came back and scored. I mean, it was a great shot. It was a great player who scored that, right? So I would expect Blackwood to be better. I would expect Ottinger to be better. I'm sure we'll touch on Game 7 a little bit tomorrow, but that total sucks. It's they fully adjusted that for a Game 7. Like we're seeing a 5.5, right? Like that's, and I know it's a Game 7, but yeah. So yeah, well, those were my thoughts last night. We can get into today and Jets Blues here.
We will get into today. Charles already talking one more Game 7, please Blues. You might not have us on your side there, but we will talk about that in a sec. Before we do, I need to do some ad-libbing here because the Battle of Ontario is not on anymore. The NHL playoffs are well underway and round 2 is just around the corner. FanDuel is your home for live betting the NHL playoffs and all playoff series with new features like live SGPs, build a parlay, any game, any period, or stack multiple matchups onto one slip with same game parlay plus. And what's better than playoff hockey? Overtime playoff hockey. You get more from the game with live overtime markets. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with 200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet and you'll get 200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel today and get more with North America's #1 sportsbook. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued is not withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, let's get into the games tonight. The game tonight, I should say. Winnipeg looking to close out the series after 2 miserable games in St. Louis. They are now without Mark Scheifele as they go there for a third time and look to try and avoid a dreaded Game 7. Jets -102 on FanDuel, Blues -118. There's also some plus money available on the Jets right now. A total of 5.5 plus 128 to the over, -158 to the under. So Money, I think we know where we're at in this one. I will let you take the floor first here.
Yeah, so we touched on this last game where I really felt that Hellebuck turned a corner in that game. He did give up a weak goal, but positionally he looked very good, and he looked the best that he's looked all series to me. If that's the case, obviously the Jets' fortunes are kind of, I would say they're probably they're wholly dependent on how Hellebuck plays. If he has a good game, I think that the Jets are going to be able to close this out. And if he struggles like how he has in St. Louis, we're going back for a Game 7. So the way that I look at him is that like I said, right? Like he's getting out on top of his crease now, or he did last game, and in a bid for the game before as well. So if I'm right, if that continues, then I think that we need to be ahead of the curve and bet on the Jets. I do have plus money on the Jets. I like them up to -110. I know Scheifele's out, so that gets adjusted within the line. And similar to the Leafs last night, right? Like if you believe that a team is ready to take the next step, which I think the Jets are, in this matchup at least, then they'll win tonight. It's just as simple as that, and you'll get plus money for it. So it's the exact same setup as the Leafs game last night, except that I do want to take a bit of a larger position because of my thoughts on I believe that Hellebuck is starting to turn it around.
Yeah, I agree with you. Velarde's second game back will be a little bit better as well as he gets his legs under him, more adjusted to the pace. That helps kind of negate the Scheifele loss a little bit. Look, the Blues were good in games 3 and 4. Game 3, you expected that though. That is very much you're down 2-0 at home. That's the type of effort you're going to get from these teams, every day of the week. So I'm not trying to throw that out the window or negate that, but look, they came out, they took like a 3-0 lead very, very early. And that was, I don't put much stock into the numbers from that game at that point because Jets kind of just, you give that up at that point. You just surrender that game. You're like, all right, let's move on to game 4. Game 4, the Jets came out really, really well. They deserved a lot better in that first period. They only got the 1 goal. Should have been up probably 2-0, 3-0. End up giving up a late one. And then they're still kind of in control of the game before the floodgates just sort of open. And, we saw things go south for Hellebuck again. If we do believe in Hellebuck and we do believe in this team like we do, you just have to have faith that that's not going to happen and things won't go south again. And I think that's a big reason as to why we're looking at the numbers from those 2 games and seeing them where they are. It's just kind of game script, score effects, all that sort of stuff. I don't put a ton of stock into it. I still am high on this Jets team. I like what I've seen from them. I like how they've responded time in and time out in this series. They got punched in the mouth last game and they were able to respond. I think we're going to see a bit of a rally around Scheifele and, the hits and the comments after the game. So I don't think we should be getting plus money here. I also have not bet it yet because I do feel like there's a chance we can get an even better number at one point just because the way the market has kind of been betting them and without Scheifele. I don't think it'll be much better though. So I'm not really expecting much better than this plus 104 that we have here, but I think it's possible. I will say, I do think it's possible we get a bit of a better number. Would you agree with that, or you think this is kind of the pinnacle here for the Jets?
I think that this is going to play out similar to the Toronto game. I think the best of the number will be earlier, and just a movement on the under right now, it makes me feel that so the under and the Jets are correlated. If the Jets win this game, it's because Hellebuck played well. And that game stayed under, right? And when I say under, I mean before the empty nets, right? So it plays out as an under game.
So many empty netters have just destroyed me.
Yeah, and I mean that's the way you gotta like especially in the playoffs, like you can't get deceived by the final score, right? Like you have to see how the game is being played, and there is a ton of money in the market on the under right now. I'm watching it right now. It's all coming in as we speak, and that's a significant move there. And if that's correct, then I would expect the Jets money to follow as well.
Yeah, I lean over at these prices, but I want to see how. I mean, with this being an elimination game, I do think under money will just keep coming in. I do think we can get maybe a little bit of a cheaper 5 at one point. Not cheap, like you're going to have to pay up, like a minus 130 type thing, minus 140 potentially. But I'm good with a minus 145 as well. So let's see if we can get that. I will be betting if that does come at one point. I don't think we can see 5s here and let them slide personally.
And just to mention Charles's point there in the chat, that's a really good look. It's something that actually slipped my mind this morning. But looking at Conn Smythe odds, and how far Hellebuck has dropped, he's 20. Is he 25 to 1?
24 to 1 on FanDuel, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good look, right? If again, you need to bet your opinions, right? Like you need to put your money into what you think, right? And if I think that if I'm seeing Hellebuck turning it around, and depending on Scheifele's injury, right? I originally had a Scheifele Conn Smythe, but the way that Hellebuck has fallen here in the betting market, he's at if he's at 24, 25 to 1, then I think it makes sense.
And then he gives up 7 goals in game 1 against the Avs, and it's like, all right, here we go again.
Yeah, possible.
Hopefully the Avs, or I will be sleeping. Well, I thought I would be sleeping in Jordan's basement, but he won't have the space for me to move into his basement if the Avs lose. All right, let's get to that game because we're not going to have a show tomorrow, obviously being a Saturday. So I do want to talk about Game 7 tomorrow, potentially the only game 7 or round 1. We'll see what happens tonight in this Jets Blues game, but potentially just one game 7 from these 8 series. The Avs right now on FanDuel minus 142, Stars plus 118, a total of 5.5, minus 110 to the over, minus 110 to the under. They do say that hedging is for gardeners, and there's no room to be hedging here. I'm not necessarily looking to hedge my overexposure on the Avs, but like price wise, plus 118 at home, looking at, I know it's narrative too, but like what Peter DeBoer has done in game 7s in his career and what the Avs have done in game 7s lately, it is like perfect storm of terrifying for someone who was very much needing the Avs to win this game. I'll probably end up buying a little bit of Dallas at this price just because of the situation I'm in. I think it would be a little bit foolish of me not to. If I'm sitting there after the game and Dallas has won and I did nothing to buy back at all, considering how much I have on this Avs team right now to win, I think I would be kicking myself. So just for that sake alone, I will be doing it. It is still also, a pretty big number for this Avs team to play on the road. We saw how well Dallas has responded every time they've lost in the series and how well they played at home. So I do think there is a little bit of value on that. But total wise, I think there's a lot more value in your opinion here, or no?
No, I think that I can't do 5.5 here, right? Like it's just when that game was ending, I was hoping for a 6. But we have the game 7 premium here, and I'm not going to be betting the under at 5.5. I do see what you're saying in terms of in terms of the exposure. Usually, so let's just say I'm not going to lean in more, right? Like I'm just going to let my Colorado stuff ride in this game because I do like Colorado in the game, but I think that I don't like them enough to lean into the game with the futures that I have as well, including the series future. So I do have a bet on tomorrow, right? I just don't want to.
Course, yeah.
I just don't want to add to it at this point. And in terms of DeBoer game 7, man, I hate to be that guy, but I'm just tired of it, right? It's like similar to the Vasilevsky off back-to-back or off a loss in the playoffs, right? He's like 19-0 or like, and like DeBoer's like 500-0 in game 7s. Like, yeah. I mean, it's just it doesn't matter, right? And like, yeah, maybe you can make some preparation and like maybe he's like gets his team ready and stuff. But from my count, only one of those were against Colorado, and that was like 4 years ago, right? And like I don't know how that's relevant right now, but yeah, I mean, Dallas is going to be ready. I think that it's going to be a tight game, and I think it's going to be tighter than the minus 135s we're seeing right now. But what my concern here for Dallas would be that Colorado, watching this series that when they're at their 8+ games, when they're at their ceiling games, Colorado is better. And it's just a matter of, can Colorado get there, and can they get the goaltending and Cale Makar. Now, I will say last night's empty net goal that Cale Makar scored, sometimes we've seen it so many times in hockey, right? You have a guy struggling, he gets an empty net goal, and that kind of with like a player of that caliber, that kind of gets him going. So I need the price on it, but I will bet Cale Makar to score a goal tomorrow as well. A little narrative-y, but I think that he's just that level player that I think at some point he'll get it together. And why not a game 7 after he got a taste of the puck going into the net on him? So yeah, I like Colorado. I don't necessarily like the number. I think it needs to be a little bit better. Yeah. But yeah, I won't be betting Dallas, and I won't be adding to Colorado. So I'll be standing pat and wait and hoping for a Makar goal and Colorado to win.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I've got the Avs minus 125 and minus 170 and minus
There
175
you go.
tomorrow, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff, right? I've got all sorts of Avs stuff tomorrow. So my average price is probably around a minus 140 something here. So pretty much where the line is. So I do have a large bet on this game. I will say to your point there about how the Avs A game is better than the Stars A game in this series. And in the context of who's out there right now, I
Oh yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
think with Heiskanen and Jason Robertson, maybe
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like hot takey. With those two guys in the lineup, I think the Stars are the best team in the league. Just seeing what they've done in this series without those two guys, you insert guys of that caliber back in there. I mean, Thomas Harley is making a case for himself to be like a top 5 defenseman in this league right now. And, we know Heiskanen is. I almost I really need the Avs here, but I genuinely would feel bad for the Stars if they were to again fall short. Guys like Duchesne, Sagan, stuff like that, Ben, who are nearing the later stages of their career. Time is running out, and I mean they've been so close for the last few years, knocking on the door to run into an Avs team in the first round without Heiskanen and without Robertson. It sucks. It does suck.
Yeah.
So the one thing I'll note too, so DeBoer 8-0 in game 7s. The Avs are now, again, things change quite a bit over the years, but 0-6 in their last 6 game 7s. The last game 7 they won, 2002 against San Jose. Nathan MacKinnon 0-4 in game 7s in his career. So I don't think it matters at all. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying I don't think it matters. It definitely doesn't matter. I just found that very interesting. I was very surprised to hear that Mr. Nathan MacKinnon, one of the clutchest players, we'll see. Great competitor, all that, has never won a game 7 in his career. I was stunned by that stat when I saw that last night.
Wait, DeBoer's only 8-0. I thought he was 80-0.
I know, based on the
That's it. Only
you'd think so, right?
He's only 8-0.
Yeah, only 8-0. Yeah, I will be betting a little bit of Stars just because of the fact that because of the situation I'm in. But if you are not over, like Connor too, was saying in the chat, if you are a bit overextended right now, I do think that this is a good chance to kind of just buy out of that a little bit. Probably, something where if you do it, I also feel like this is so stupid, it's superstitious, but I feel like if you don't do it, you're just asking to get crushed on it, right? If you do it a little bit, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done it. The Avs, but you're almost helping the Avs get home by doing it. It's so stupid, and there's nothing to that. And it does not make sense, but that's just how I feel, and I'm sticking with it. So I will be buying back a little bit on the Stars, not much. I still will have a heavy rooting interest in the Avs. I thought when you mentioned the total earlier in the adjustment, I thought you were going to say that you wanted to buy a little bit of the over.
No.
I am a little bit interested in the over. I want to see where this settles right now, but if 5.5 is minus 105 available, I don't know that this can be at 5.5. I know it's a game 7. I know Ottinger's great, but defensively, there are still question marks about both these teams right now, and offensively, we saw even last night's game, even in the longer spells where you go 15 minutes without a goal, there are so many chances back and forth in these games. I don't think it's magically just going to dry up tomorrow night being a game 7. We've seen some crazy adjustments back and forth for the totals in this series. I think this is a little bit too low now. And I likely will end up with a little bit of over here. I just 5.5 minus 105. Man, I just can't get there. I don't think that's a fair adjustment. I think that is, we're too far the other way now. Okay. That's it for round 1 games, potentially. If there is a game 7 on Sunday between the Jets and the Blues, we're not going to have a show, so there's not much to say about that. Hopefully there isn't, and we can get our Jets bet home tonight. There are a couple of round 2 series that have been decided now that we have lines for on FanDuel, so I wanted to touch on those quickly. First, we'll go to the Leafs and the Panthers. Panthers opened minus 150 on FanDuel. That did not last long. They got bet out significantly, out to minus 176 right now. Leafs plus 146. Elsewhere at some market-making books as well, we saw them bet all the way out to minus 180. What are your thoughts on this series here and where the price is?
Yeah, so I'll be I'm I will be bullish on the Leafs. I think that I touched on it a little bit earlier. I don't think that it's going to be straightforward for the Panthers here, and I think that we have seen Florida go through stretches where they have trouble generating offense. Um, Toronto just played a team that has trouble generating offense, so I think that um, as as the playoffs go on, I think that Toronto is more comfortable with kind of playing that kind of style of hockey, and I think that there's there's something to be said about the difference between calmness and nonchalance, right? I think that this team is a lot calmer, and it comes across sometimes as a team that doesn't care, and I think that we need to kind of we need to have a distinction between those things, right? So this is a calmer team. This is a team that even like last night after Ottawa tied it up, like they quickly scored afterwards, but like those first couple of shifts after the 2-2 goal, I didn't sense a panic that I've seen in previous years of this team. So I do think that Toronto is ready to take the next step. Now whether they can beat Florida, that's a different story. But in terms of the pricing, I'll be waiting to see how far this goes, and I'll be on the Leafs here.
Okay. I disagree to a fairly I disagree pretty strongly. In the sense where I think the Leafs were beneficiaries of playing a pretty weak team in the first round. I mean, you're right. The Sens like to play the way the Panthers play in terms of playing tight defense, and they do struggle to generate, but they're just like such a poverty version of the Panthers that it really is night and day. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they play the same way, but they're almost playing a different sport in how they play that way. Just given the talent on the two teams and the talent disparity. Leafs, we talked about Panthers struggle to generate. I mean, the Leafs struggle to generate more than anyone, and they have all season, right? They're first round, 1.98 expected goals per 60 at 5-on-5. That is the worst in the league. They're the only team below 2. Next worst is the Blues at 2.11. So it has been pretty low event. It's only going to get that much harder for them now against a team that defends the front of their net and defends in their own end just so much better. Going to need to see more depth scoring, obviously, from Toronto here because of the fact that you're going to have Barkov just out there shutting down whichever one of the top two lines they decide. And then, it comes down to the bottom 6, and then you have Lundell, and then you have the Bennett line. It's just an overwhelming amount of talent and depth on that team. Obviously, no Ekblad in game 1 helps. But again, we talked about how I think this Panthers team is kind of more the they're more, the sum of their parts as opposed to any individual. I just don't think I'm going to have much betting wise in terms of on the Panthers, because I don't think we're going to get the prices for it. That's basically this. I do think the Panthers will generally be able to control this and have their way. I'm not saying it's going to be straightforward. I'm not saying they're going to win in 4 or 5. But I mean, I do struggle to see a path for the Leafs outside of basically Stolarz either blacking out or Bobrovsky going through a lull, or the Panthers being really undisciplined and the Leafs being able to kind of catch fire on the power play. That's kind of feels like the only sort of paths for the Leafs here to win this series, because the Panthers play the same way the Leafs play. They just do it better, right? And they're just deeper. But the price reflects that. So as much as I want to be on the Panthers here, I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to lay -175, -180 in this series, especially with them not having home ice. And I'm not going to probably be able to bet them game to game either, because you're already going to see them -120 in game 1 without Ekblad. I just don't envision a scenario in which I'm going to be betting on the Panthers much in this series. So I'm sure I'll bet on a lot of unders. Give me whatever juice you want on that under 5.5. I'm sure I'll keep betting them as long as we're getting them, because I think this is going to be a bit of a war, a very low event series, assuming these teams can kind of stay out of the box. That will be important as well. Other series here is the Knights and the Oilers. We're seeing a big discrepancy between the, I'm not going to say rec books, but the Sharper and the Wrecker lines. Oilers -114 on FanDuel, which is a bit more neutral, I would say. Knights minus 105. We've seen the Oilers out to minus 125 at some spots in the series, and then we're getting Oilers plus money at some of the market making books. So there is a big discrepancy here in terms of how this series is kind of being viewed. Where do you come in here on this one? And I think you already alluded to it, but I will give you the floor to talk about why.
Yeah, I do like the Oilers here. I'm just waiting to see if I can get a better number, but a plus money on the Oilers in this series. I'll be betting it, and I'll probably bet them game by game as well as we move forward here. I think that what the Oilers are showing right now is that they're deep. They're very, very deep now, especially in their forward groups. We need to see when Ekholm is going to be back, and I think that's going to really solidify their defense in this series. I would say that goaltending is not a complete wash, but Vegas does not have as big of an advantage in goal as they should.
And as is being perceived by the market as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's some concerns on the back end of the Vegas defense in terms of as the series goes on. I think that the Oilers, when they get going wave after wave, rolling their lines, I think that's going to have an impact later on in the series with how much Vegas can kind of take. So I think that we'll see Vegas kind of break down as this series goes on. I don't think it's going to be a short series, but I think that Edmonton has more top end talent and more depth. And if Ekholm is back in this series, I'm not sure if he's going to be back, but if Ekholm is back in the series, then I think that takes care of the defensive disparity between these teams, and goaltending. It's not as big as it's perceived.
Yeah. So Ekholm will not be back for the series unless there's some gamesmanship going on there. But Jason Gregor tweeted it out last night that he saw Ekholm in the elevator, and Ekholm said that it's really tough to watch these games, whatever. But then said won't play in the second round. So I don't know if that's I wouldn't say that's confirmed, but I know Knobloch said the other day as well that it's unlikely he'll be back soon. Doesn't expect him for the second round, but it sounds like if they get past Vegas, we can probably expect him soon after that. So we'll see. Maybe we get a game 6, pivotal game 6, and all of a sudden Ekholm's back, and that swings things considerably. I do like the Oilers here as well. I agree with you, especially getting plus money on them to win the series. I am higher on Vegas than you, but I still think just matchup wise, yes, Vegas has the defense. They have a very good blue line, but what they don't have on the blue line is speed. They're getting older. They're a little bit slower, and that is a problem against a team that plays as fast as the Oilers do, and they have speed on all 4 of those lines. You're looking at a point now where you've got put Colson and Arvidsson on the 4th line because, the emergence of Frederic again. Frederic looks healthy, and he's making his presence felt. You got Kane reintegrated. Hyman and Nugent Hopkins look good together. That tip from Hyman yesterday was unbelievable. How he was able to get his stick on that, and that was very impressive. I think things are coming together right now. Calvin Pickard terrifies me. I don't think he's good. I really do want to see them go back to Skinner soon. I do think it's going to take a blow-up game from him to get Skinner back in there, which we'll, I'm sure, get at one point. Probably hopefully it's not game 1. Hopefully we can get out to an early lead for the Oilers, and then game 2 we get maybe, whatever, let them take one on home ice. Pickard blows up, and that at least allows Skinner to come back in for game 3. But yeah, I'd feel a little bit better if I knew they were going into this series with Skinner as a starter. I don't trust Pickard at all. That's the one thing that gives me some pause here.
It's so funny that I was just thinking in a month from now when Connor McDavid is handing the Stanley Cup to himself, then we're gonna be thinking about that Hiller challenge and how things could have been different this whole playoff run if that idiot doesn't challenge that call.
Yeah, I can't talk about Kings anymore, so I can't
get over that.
I can't do it. I'm I'm so disgusted in that franchise right now that I don't even want to talk about them anymore. So Oilers, we'll see where this goes. I don't imagine like we'll get much better than that. There was plus 100, plus 101 out there. I don't imagine we're going to get better than that. I honestly think that that's basically, that is basically as good as it's going to get in this series if you want to bet the Oilers. So if you want to do so, I'd probably do it now. Market does like the Oilers as well. It's not a team that has typically been faded. So I think if you want to bet the Oilers, do it early. If you want to bet Vegas, you can probably wait and get some bigger numbers. Although I know there are some shops that already offer like plus 105 on Vegas, which is, I think that's a fair price. I'm not going to be rushing to bet that, but like considering where the market's at right now,
or you can bet both sides at plus money and you're good.
Yeah, you can just arb it up for a small, tiny little profit there. Get a plus 101 to plus 105, and it doesn't matter who wins at that point. All right, that's it for series, I think, that are posted. We're obviously not going to have a line for the Central Series yet because of the fact that we don't know who's going to be playing. Between the Jets, Blues, Avs, and Stars. We've already talked about the Canes and Capitals. That Canes Caps price is not getting bigger like I wanted it to. There's still time. Hopefully it gets there, but still see the Canes hovering around that minus 160, minus 165 range. Would love to get a bit of a bigger number on the Caps. I do think the Caps are being a bit disrespected, but we're just not getting that yet.
Do we have an update on Freddie at all? Yesterday?
I don't think so.
Maybe someone in the chat. I didn't do any work on Carolina yesterday, so I have no idea.
Let me see.
And my computer's not loading, so that's fun.
Patrick Laine says he broke his finger in game 2, by the way. Probably playing Call of Duty. All right. No, I take that back. All right. That's it. We got the Jets for tonight. Obviously, no anytime goal parlay. No goal parlay. Nothing like that.
But I do have a goal scorer, though.
All right. Hit me with it.
Adam Lowry, plus 500.
Adam Lowry. All right. Adam Lowry, plus 500. Let's track that for what, half a unit?
Yeah.
All right. We will track Adam Lowry for half a unit. That will be up there at one point later. We are not trying to hide from that. I'm just not going to wait for that to get tracked right now before we sign off. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in today. We'll be back on Monday. There will be a lot of stuff to get to, a lot more second round stuff we will discuss. Adam Lowry over half a goal, and the Jets.
And the
Jets as well. Jets money line tonight as well, plus money. Those are today's best bets. Monday we'll be talking round 2. Hopefully, round 2 hasn't started yet. I don't know if there will be some round 2 games on Sunday.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I did see someone tweet out yesterday that the Panthers and Leafs series could start as early as Saturday, depending on what happens in the West, which I think now that at least we have one series going 7 there, I don't think that'll be the case. So hopefully nothing starts Sunday and we get the first round 2 games on Monday, that we can just do a bit more of a full round 2 preview, then look at some of those series special markets on FanDuel and all that stuff, which we'll do. Appreciate everyone for tuning in today. We will see you after the weekend. Until then, enjoy the games, enjoy game 7, and good luck on your bets.